Air travel rules often feel like they change without warning, and many passengers notice small differences at airports that seem sudden or confusing. In reality, most of the core systems that govern security checks, baggage policies, and boarding procedures are updated through official announcements, and major changes are usually public long before they are enforced. What often spreads instead is a mix of misunderstandings, partial truths, and exaggerated interpretations of normal operational adjustments. One of the most common sources of confusion is identification requirements. If a traveler does not have a compliant ID, they are not charged a fee at the checkpoint. Instead, they may be asked to complete an identity verification process, which can include additional questions or a secondary screening. In some cases, travelers may be advised to use a different form of identification, such as a passport. The idea that there's a fixed fee paid directly at security is not part of any official TSA procedure. Another area that often creates concern is the use of facial recognition technology at airports. Some airports and airlines do offer optional biometric verification systems to speed up boarding or identity checks. However, participation is typically voluntary. Travelers can usually choose to present their physical ID instead. These systems are intended to streamline processes, not replace consent. Claims that passengers are automatically enrolled into permanent biometric databases without their knowledge are not consistent with how current U.S. privacy and aviation security frameworks operate. Baggage policies are another frequent source of misunderstanding. Airlines set their own rules regarding carry-on and checked luggage, and these rules can vary depending on fare class, route, and airline. Basic economy fares on some carriers may restrict passengers to one personal item, while standard economy fares often include a carry-on allowance. These distinctions are not new or secret, but they are sometimes overlooked during booking. The most important detail for travelers is that baggage rules are clearly listed during the ticket purchase process, even if passengers do not always review them carefully. There's also ongoing attention on how strictly baggage size limits are enforced. Most airlines publish standard dimensions for carry-on luggage, and gate agents may check bags that appear oversized. This is not a new policy shift, but a continuation of long-standing enforcement practices designed to manage limited overhead bin space. The measurements include wheels and handles, and passengers are expected to ensure their bags fit within the published limits when fully packed. While enforcement may feel stricter on full flights, the underlying rules have remained largely consistent for years. Boarding, timing, and seat assignments can sometimes feel unpredictable, especially for travelers on standby or flexible fares. Airlines use automated systems to manage seat availability and flight weight distribution, but these systems operate within established scheduling procedures. Arriving early for check-in and boarding is always recommended, not because of sudden algorithm changes, but because earlier check-in generally provides better seat selection and reduces the risk of being placed on standby during full flights. Security screening itself continues to evolve gradually with technology upgrades. Some airports now use advanced imaging systems that reduce the need for passengers to remove items such as laptops or liquids from bags. However, the availability of these systems varies by airport, and traditional screening procedures still apply in many locations. Liquid restrictions remain in place for carry-on items, typically limiting containers to 3.4 ounces placed inside a clear bag. These rules are part of international aviation security standards and have not been eliminated, although some newer scanners may make the process faster or less intrusive in certain airports. Medications and personal items are another area where travelers often worry unnecessarily. For domestic flights, passengers are allowed to carry medications in pill organizers or other storage systems without needing original prescription bottles. Security officers are focused on safety threats rather than verifying pharmaceutical packaging. For international travel, however, destination countries may have their own customs rules, which can sometimes require original packaging or documentation. This distinction between security screening and customs regulation is often misunderstood. Food and drink rules are also frequently misinterpreted. Solid food items are generally allowed through security checkpoints, while liquids and gels must follow standard volume restrictions. Many travelers choose to bring empty water bottles through security and fill them afterward, which is permitted and widely practiced. This helps reduce costs and improves convenience during travel. Another point of confusion involves airport assistance services. Travelers who require mobility or boarding assistance can request accommodations from airlines in advance. While it is possible to request help at the gate, arranging it earlier through customer service or during booking often ensures smoother coordination. Airlines are required to provide reasonable assistance under federal regulations, but advance notice helps them prepare appropriately. Duty-free purchases also have specific rules that depend on flight routes. Items bought after security are generally allowed on board, but if a passenger has connecting flights that require additional security screening, liquid restrictions may apply again depending on the airport and country. This is why travelers are often advised to consider their full itinerary before purchasing large liquid items at duty-free shops. USB charging ports and onboard electronic systems are common on modern aircraft, and passengers often use them for convenience. These systems are designed primarily for power delivery and entertainment. While general cybersecurity awareness is always recommended when using public charging points, commercial aircraft systems are built with strict safety and data separation standards. Passengers are typically advised to use trusted charging accessories, but there is no widespread evidence of onboard entertainment systems being used to access personal data from devices. Across all these areas, the most important thing for travelers to understand is that airline and airport procedures are generally stable and regulated. Changes do occur, but they are typically documented, announced, and implemented gradually rather than introduced suddenly or silently. Much of the confusion comes from misinterpreting normal variations in enforcement, differences between airlines, or outdated travel advice being repeated without context. Stay informed through official airline communications, airport guidance, and regulatory sources is the most reliable way to avoid surprises during travel. While the airport experience can sometimes feel inconsistent, the underlying rules are far more structured and transparent than viral narratives often suggest.